Hey there, day 3 of the Startup Catalyst Tour. Got up this morning around 6, now just clocking over 1 a.m. the following day, but it's been fun, it's been full as we visit a few hubs across Boulder, Colorado. Without further ado, let's get into it. So our first stop was Boomtown, an accelerator that's supported and funded over 60 startups across 7 cohorts. Fairly effective space. One of the interesting things that they had was a hardware lab, which speaks to the value of having some sort of activation in your hub. We were able to talk to one of their startups in there that really shared about the value of having that space there. But you know, if you look at other spaces, it could be virtual reality, it could be hardware and 3D printing, it could be a design studio, recording studio, just something to activate the space. It was interesting to hear their perspective on just how valuable it was to have that in the space.
They made their 5 minutes. It's not, excessively long, and a great way to get a better feel for some of the teams that come through here. So as you can see, we have we have a smallish kitchen, but we have partnered with Whole Foods because what we found is a lot of people in startup land are surviving on ramen noodles and Red Bull, and not maybe always the healthiest choices, and we aren't always taking time. It's a stressful environment, and so how do we encourage people to start with a healthy breakfast? We're here in Boulder, lots of physical activity, lots of opportunity for focus on health. So we partnered with Whole Foods, and they give us a kind of a weekly stipend to keep some healthier options available. We do some, we've done kind of a cooking class. We've started doing pancake breakfast and things just to encourage people to get together when they're not heads down doing all their work, and another opportunity to connect over a social environment. So I know that we've had teams going through our accelerator program use the lab yet. It's been mainly incubator teams, other teams will use it part-time. Grownetics' first team has really dug in and really utilized the space, so we're so excited to have them. And they're rocking it.
Yeah, it's a great space. Got like oscilloscopes and all sorts of nice equipment. So,
Awesome.
right now we're soldering and assembling together some combined sensors, and Matt's been working on this CT relay shield. So we've got like our whole 3D crop sensing system set up over here. This is like for a smart thinking garden. It does machine learning algorithms to self-water and do dissolved oxygen and keep the whole garden in balance while increasing yields and helping with efficiency of water usage and stuff like that. So that's what we're working on.
What for you choose Boomtown rather than another place?
This is the only one with a lab like this that I've seen currently.
I don't know there's another resource like this in town.
Yeah.
Certainly not for the price.
So in terms of minimum resource to have a lab like this set up, like what do you see as like the minimum stuff that you needed to make the decision to come and work in this lab?
So it was definitely the rapid prototyping tools, so the 3D printers, the test equipment, essentially the tools that are a little bit more expensive that home lab's not going to have, that we use. And plus they also have resources with local manufacturers that they've made introductions, and people who do short run production, things like that.
So there's like PCB manufacturers in Boulder itself?
Yeah, Boulder and the surrounding area.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
And
So Vince, this group is from Australia,
Cool.
a combination of co-working, makerspace,
Awesome.
accelerator. Yeah, awesome. This is a power group
Well,
from Australia here. So
I came to
I really
Boulder
appreciate that.
to basically, after hearing about Boomtown, to start my business because Boomtown was here, and this IoT lab really makes like the whole community really collaborative. So maker spaces, I would always go to maker spaces to find collaborators and creative engineers, and so no, it's great stuff.
At least one person is here full time on the team, and typically it is both members of the team. So we have and then past our cohort, we let them use this space been continuing. Our cohort ended on December 6th, so they get a little bit of ramp before they have to find a different space. Some of them go to Galvanize. When you go tour Galvanize, it tends to be a space that's close by, you can still feel connected.
Stop was Spark, a co-working space that focused primarily on young people and bridging that gap to equip young people to enter the entrepreneurial or startup scene, primarily to be able to teach them some of the soft skills and a bit of an emphasis on equipping them for the startup scene. Some of the things that they mentioned in there, such as the hours of operation, having it's almost empty there, maybe in the middle of the day, but 2 in the morning can really be thumping. So for whatever your focus is with your hub, make sure that you accommodate it with both the physical space and the hours of operation. But it looks like they're really feeling a need there. A really good space and a good experience.
Parties here, some startups hold their celebration parties. And then we have this little area here, which is a private desk area. So if anybody, companies, we want a private desk. They don't have to keep moving around. I'm sure you guys are familiar with the mobile membership concept. But some people like to park it. So we have these desks. We also have 2 conference rooms, one of which we turned into a bigger office. And then we have a bunch of offices. And these are typically further along startups. So they're usually pre-Series A, with I think exception of Delta Drones, which is the one that's in the big one there. They're actually a subsidiary of a larger company in France, which is kind of interesting. So we have this mix of both professional and student entrepreneurs in here. And we think that's good in order for them to kind of see what this really looks like on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, that's basically
So the next space we saw was Galvanize. Galvanize fills that need to teach the high-end technical talent. One of the factors of a successful ecosystem is having that high-end talent. If you don't have that, it can be very difficult to get an idea off the ground, particularly if you want some sort of digital platform to scale globally. So just a few stats here that they had. Look, the latest cohort of 29 students was in there. Over the next 6 months, those students were told that it was going to be one of the most intense experiences of their life to be able to come up to speed. But based on some of the numbers they were saying, it actually works. They have a rate of about 88% placement within 6 months at an average graduating salary of around $77,000 a year. So it obviously works. It's a 4-year-old model. They've had 44 cohorts go through globally, and they aim to train about 1,500 students in 2017. The particular Boulder location had about 26 full-time staff, including 12 instructors. So it's a pretty big operation, very impressive when he went in there, but definitely feeling that needs. They spoke a lot about it being more like a campus than actually a co-working space.
Well, not necessarily. Sometimes it's actually like a few blocks from campus. You just, temporary real estate. That way too, when you're touring campus, which is, usually under construction, you can say everybody move here. Yeah. Let me tell you all a little bit about Galvanize, and then now let's put on our hard hats and walk over. Yeah.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. I haven't.
Last stop of the day was Techstars, one of the highlights because we were able to sit down with David Cohen and one of the founders and have a bit of a chat. Techstars, in addition to their technical accelerator, also developed Startup Weekend, Startup Week, Startup Digest, very heavy in the scene. A few other numbers here. They have 26 accelerators around the world, funding 300 companies, running 1,000 startup weekends, 600 startup digests, 60 startup weekends, startup weeks per year. They currently have around 160 people globally and 35 at the headquarters. Dave's bold vision is to create a global ecosystem, globally connected. His belief is that we can do this anywhere. Why do people have to come to Boulder or come to any of these, theoretically these meccas? Why can't we just do it anywhere? So even though he's in 26 locations, he has a bold vision to be in 1,000. So he has a ways to go, but definitely a plan on how to get there. So what is the formula for a successful startup? One of the things he mentioned is team, market, progress, idea. Team repeated 3 times in the beginning because that's such a critical factor, the people factor they often talk about in the startup scene. Market, because you have to know your market. Progress, don't invest in anything unless you actually see them doing something. And ideas at the last, as he said, so you can make fun of it. The idea almost always changes when somebody goes through an accelerator, and how they go into it is rarely what actually comes out. So the idea will change, so don't get too wedded into it. Look, there's a lot of many good insights, but one of the things that came up is one of the team asked the question what the gaps were in the Australian market. David just recently come back from Australia. So based on his time down under, what was his advice? And he said, look, act like what you want to become. It's not bragging, but definitely focus your energy and talk about how great you are, and believe that you have to believe. So really stepping into that bold vision, saying this is what I am, and this is what I want to achieve. But again, it's not bragging. It's not me, but it's us. So some really good insights from Dave. So in the spirit of, as they say, giving first, I'll give this vlog to you, and look forward to catching you guys tomorrow.